Yeah, today I'm once again gonna record without a pop filter, even though I've seen in the last episode that it is not, that's not quite the best idea, I guess. And you know what I've forgotten? I've forgotten the laundry. Yeah. It's in the dry cleaner, I think it is called. I don't actually know. The thing is, today is rather a strange day, and I really quickly wanna talk about that, share a little bit of my thoughts. I don't have to work today, which is pretty interesting. Yesterday I had my test, and yes, I've got it. Now I'm officially a fucking medic, and or whatever you wanna call it. I don't fucking know. Or pharma, whatever. And on Monday, I've also didn't have to work. And so today, once again, I don't have to work as well. Tomorrow is going to be interesting, or till the next Wednesday, it is going to be interesting because I only have to work when they need somebody. In terms of, okay, if they call me and I need to be callable, I need to be available for just being called, then they can tell me that they need me. But the problem is that I'm quote unquote having with it is that it is fucking boring to sit at home doing fucking nothing. Well, I'm doing things. I could have slept a bit more. This is clearly something that I could have done, but I've also been able to just rest a bit, which is definitely something that I've done also just primarily in the very first beginning of my day today. But the problem is I have then done that. There's nothing else for me to do, and today's weather isn't that great as well, and I also don't really feel like just doing quite a bunch of things. I kind of feel like resting a bit, but I also feel like, well, on one hand, it is fucking boring. Like, this is, by the way, definitely something that I'm kind of struggling with. I'm struggling with not being alone. This is just definitely not something I'm struggling with, but not having to do something. And I don't know, maybe this would be one of these things that could get in between me and being a quote-unquote entrepreneur, or just having my own thing, my own store or my own whatever, because of course there's going to be some days where you don't have to do anything, and I don't know, I don't just like that. I don't like that. I want to work the weekend, and on the weekend I want to feel like just not having to do anything but the things that I really want to do, aka doing something with friends, or just relaxing, enjoying myself, enjoying my time, enjoying food, enjoying whatever. And I'm not able to do so if I just don't fucking work, and just having weekend during the week. I just don't want to have that, and I kind of hope that they need me tomorrow, or the next day, and the day afterwards, and something. But anyway, I feel like there is no light at the end of the tunnel, and you know what? Should I actually do that? Nah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna use this thing because I know that if I... yeah. I feel like there is no light at the end of the tunnel. I'm 20 years old and female. I've been feeling anxious for more than a year now. For me, anxiety had become a part of life. I used to have breakdowns from time to time, cry my eyes out and go to bed every night. Yeah, fortunately you did that. It was a cycle, a routine. It was part of my life, and if any day goes by without a breakdown, that used to probably be amazing, but let's see what she writes. It's actually very long, but I'm anyway gonna read that. That used to deserve this happiness, and I feel unloved. Oh no, I'm sorry. I really was part of my life, and if any day that goes by without a breakdown, that used to really be an achievement. If I'm happy, I feel guilty. If I feel like I don't deserve this happiness, and I feel unloved. Even on happy days, I wasn't really happy. It was all a pretense. I always thought if I pretended to be happy, at least for some time, I will forget that I'm pretending, and I will really feel happy. But at the end of the day, or each day when I'm alone, I never felt happy. Only thing I felt was lonely and depressed. I used to have insomnia in the initial stages. I used to stay up late or all night staring at darkness, listening to dogs bark in the street, and listening to all the things running in my head. The next morning I feel so stupid for feeling the things I feel. I never took any measures to heal. The most I would do is to talk to my friends and distract myself for some time, but in the end I always felt like this is my problem and I shouldn't burden people to take care of me. Now, with more than a year of feeling anxious, it has really started affecting my life. Anxiety never looked so scary to me all this time, but now I really regret not reaching out to people, not telling out what troubled me, and not getting answers that I needed to hear. I have realized that after a point you really need someone you can confide in, someone who understands you. You cannot battle it alone after a point. It's just going to mess with your head more, and healing will look impossible if you don't reach out. When you deal with things alone, you are your best motivator, but you're also your worst enemy. On some days you tell yourself that you deserve love. Some days you hate yourself and feed negativity into your head. Now that I feel the anxiety coming in the way of everything I do, I realize how much ignorant I have been all these months. I can't concentrate on things I do. I can't watch an episode of my favorite series without my thoughts interrupting me. I feel sick. I can't go nights without sleeping. All I feel like doing is isolating myself and doing nothing. Just nothing. When I feel too anxious, I can feel my neck tighten and cannot breathe properly. I have mild panic attacks. I constantly feel exhausted, irritated, and sad. Everything is so negative, and I hate myself for feeling what I feel, for being the person I am. It has never been this extreme. It is all so new. I don't feel like interacting with people. It is so hard to pretend to be okay all the time. There is always a fear that someone will judge me for being this way. Not dealing with people feels so much better. Less drama is always better. Some days when I feel alright after taking it all out, I do feel less anxious. For a while, it looks less scary. But this feeling of being okay feels so temporary. There is always a fear that soon I will be back to being anxious and feeling alone. Feeling okay feels so temporary. I feel like there is no light at the end of the tunnel. I feel like I will never be the cheerful old me. I will always pretend to be okay so that I don't get judged. Does anxiety ever end? Will I go to sleep without having a million things going on in my head? It really doesn't feel like it. I just want some peace. I just want to be okay. I'm so tired of all the reoccurring thoughts in my head. I'm so tired of feeling things. I don't know if I can handle it anymore, and I can't see myself being genuinely happy. There's actually a pretty good comment saying, honestly, please get help, because I had the same problem, and going to someone and attempting to reduce my anxiety is one of the better decisions that I took. Also, I'm not a very religious person, but I don't know. When my anxiety and worry got so bad, I surrendered to God. It was a safe place, and it just made me a bit better than being in my head all the time. I not only suffer from PTSD, severe anxiety disorder, major depression disorder, but I am also a retired psych nurse. Babe, if you ever listen to anybody, listen to me on this. I'm 44 years old. I was diagnosed at 25. You must seek treatment. You need to go to a psychotherapist or a psychiatrist. Second, this is the part that I kept messing up. Get a therapist. Work with your therapist. I finally realized that about 8 months ago. I would get my antidepressants from my doctor, and I think I'm good. I would start to feel better. My mind will get the better of me. Then I didn't need medication. This only ended me up in this psychiatric hospital over and over and over again. Every single time that I was admitted, they told me, when you get released, get a IT. That's just short for individual therapist. Break the cycle, babe. You can't do this. You can do this. If you ever need anybody to talk to, feel free to message me. Crazy retired psych nurse from Texas. That's amazing on one hand. On the other hand, it's a fucked up thing, that we all feel so bad. It is also a fucked up thing that I feel bad. Just, I don't want to say routinely, I don't want to say quite often, but yeah, I see it. I definitely see it, and just get help. And I've actually also been thinking about it. Even though I'm not just I'm not depressed, and I don't have real severe or really severe psychic things that I'm struggling with, but I just have a feeling, and I have an idea, and I just believe that getting therapy is just definitely something that we all can benefit from. It is definitely something that we all could be using, or we all could, we actually all could benefit from, because we all have some negative thoughts, and we all have some things that we should be working on, or actually also want to be working on, but But yeah, let's go through the Stoicism subreddit. Maybe there's some really amazing things. Stoicism for a better life weekly exercise. I wonder. By the way, the last 2 days I've been sleeping on the floor, which is also something a bit stoic, I want to say. But yeah, for this week's exercise, I wanted to remind everyone that we are not born with all the knowledge, answers, and virtue. We learn it. Therefore, what we know can always be built upon, improved, and flat out replaced. Let us look at Marcus Aurelius' Meditations, the 8th 16 or something. Remember that to change your mind and to follow someone's correction are consistent with the free will, for the action is yours alone, fulfilled its purpose in keeping with your impulse and judgment, and yes, with your intelligence. You know, I have a funny thing in my mind. You know, I am working as a medic at the point of time. You know, I've been talking about it before. It is just something that I need to be doing. It's not, being a medic is something that I wanted to, but working in general is not something that I wanted to, but it is something that we all have to do in Austria. The thing is, I could just drive to the place where I'm working and sit there and talk to the people and, I don't know, do just some little tasks like, you know, helping others, washing their cars, which, I don't know, like I could definitely be doing that instead of just sitting at home all day long and doing nothing, I guess. You know, just being somewhere else. Like, of course, you know, I'm just needing to work out and I need to do quite a lot of things. And, you know, also recording and posting like that. But when I've done these things, then there's nothing much for me to do. So after just finishing up with this, I could just go there and I don't know, help. And I don't know, the thing is, if I'm sitting around here or sitting around there and maybe and probably doing something smart, it could be good. But anyway, let's actually go ahead. I'm going to keep this short and simple. Everything you know and live by is wrong, or rather can be wrong. Given that we are not born as perfect sages, we know we are flawed in the way we are. And if this journey or self-improvement is a lifelong journey, and we don't know exactly how it will unfold and what we will learn and build upon, we must remain open-minded to the fact that everything we know and hold dear to our hearts, no matter how strongly we feel about it, may be wrong. Changing one's point of view is not a weakness. It is not being a hypocrite. It is not a sign of weakness. In fact, it's the most blatant sign of strength. It shows growth and maturity and development and self-improvement. So as a practical exercise this week, challenge your dogmas, especially the ones you hold with firm conviction. Challenge even what this philosophy is teaching you. How many Stoics were there in the history of the 100 billion human beings? Did the Stoics get it right, or did some of the others? Does the information make sense to you now in your current reality? Take the time to rethink some of your most highly held principles, and you may be surprised where you might find room for improvement. And worst case, you will reconfirm logically and rationally that the principles you hold firm are in fact the best that you can think of in the here and now. I.e., you will confirm you're being the best you with the best possible moral code and living the best life you can. Anderson Silva. Thank you, Anderson. This has been a great reading. It really has, I'm not gonna lie. But anyway, found this gem at the Met. This Marcus Aurelius, pretty amazing. Loneliness. So you would think that if one is isolated from society, this person is therefore lonely. Or if one is not so much isolated, however, they have no close connections with anybody, then this person is also lonely. Loneliness does not define being alone or isolated, but rather is a perception one takes. If you were to consider yourself lonely, you are placing a false label onto yourself, and so it is no wonder that you have a great deal of sadness. Yet, if another does not consider himself lonely and rather accepts his state, even if he may not prefer it, then he is most likely content or at least undisturbed. You are to blame for how you feel, given that no event or thing can cause you grief but yourself. Within your own thoughts and perceptions, loneliness is more accurately a perception. You could be isolated, yet you're not in fact lonely, just alone. Sure, we thrive on social interactions because we are social animals. Yes, once upon a time, humans were nowhere near as advanced. They traveled in tribes decent in size and spent their day hunting animals as well as finding shelter for survival. Humans relied on others to achieve this, then in this case it would be difficult to bear aloneness. Hunting animals on your own, finding shelter without the aid or guidance or of anyone else. Wrong to think that this person is hence incapable of surviving, only that it will be difficult and probably something the majority of individuals did not want to experience. So, many people refuse to bear solitude, provided that they feel as though it's wrong. Moreover, since society generally portrays one in solitude as a poor man or poor woman, we adapt that belief since it is what we have been taught. Yet, why should being alone be seen as a tragedy? Where is the real harm in spending time alone? And if you're not exactly alone, but just without close connections, where is the harm in that too? In the former case, it is in solitude where one has a great opportunity to work on themselves, to evaluate their well-being, how they have been feeling, what they have been thinking, what they have been doing. It is also an opportunity to reflect, how can I do better? What is the virtues I have achieved and what are the vices I have performed? What must I work towards and what must I give up for the better? Self-isolating is necessary. In the latter case, if you shall build close connections with those you're surrounded by, is up to you. The fault is yours. If you lack close interactions with anybody, why don't you speak more to people and accept who they are, patiently, without any real expectations of how they ought to act? Even if you don't have many people around you, perhaps you live in an unpopular place, there is yet no excuse to refuse socializing. If you want to have closer connections or interactions, very well work towards that. However, there is no point in complaining or grieving your state. Being alone is not a bad thing, and we all need a break from civilization sometimes. You might prefer not to be alone or not to be without close connections with people. However, if that is how it plays out at this moment, then it is wise to accept your situation and consider the opportunities available to you, such as self-evaluating and to building self-respect. This is my personal view on loneliness. Hope this can be helpful to some. Yes, I totally believe in that. I totally believe that loneliness is just a perception, and even if you don't have anybody, it definitely is seen as something that's bad in society, and I'm not gonna lie. But it's not that something bad, it is what it is, and it leads back to Amor Fati, love faith, and I just love that quote so much. It is insane. It is just what it is, Life is what it is, and me being in my position is also what it is. I could be unhappy about it, but I could also just see it as an opportunity to rest a bit and get down and calm down and spend some time maybe reading, which I'm hopefully going to do today. And then also some other things, doing some other shit. And when my time comes, I'm just going to have to work once again. And I'm going to have to do some things. But now I could spend my time doing just some things that I should be doing, maybe learning for my driving license, maybe figuring out a way how I could structure my workouts a bit better, how I could deal with that, how I can deal with my problem with just eating. I don't have the best relationship to food at this point in time, which is nothing that I tremendously enjoy, obviously. There's a lot of things that I could be doing, a lot of things that I could be just having a look at, and that I could be getting into my head. Also maybe walking a bit more, maybe pre-producing things for just worse times when I don't have that much time. Maybe this is also something that I'm gonna do today, just doing some things, just making something, maybe producing something, maybe reading something, maybe putting a little bit more heart and effort into something that I could be doing. There is a lot of things that I could be doing, I could also meet with my friends, but today I don't know, in the past few days I really felt like getting a little bit of distance to people, and then and definitely sleep. I just now have the time to sleep, even though I can't sleep during the day. Maybe it's just something that I don't want to do. I would like to be able to do so, but yeah, sure. I just have to think about some things. Let me give me a sec. Yeah, let me give me a second. Yeah, give me a second. Well, sure. I think I'm gonna end the episode there, even though I think the next episode's also gonna be about stoicism and some things, because I often I think forget about things. I often, for example, Amr Fati. Today I thought, well, do I need to be doing something? Do I need? Well, I don't actually feel that bad about just not doing anything today. Of course, I'm a bit bored and shit, and I don't know. It's strange times. It really is. But I should use the time to, yeah, to do things. Maybe I'm indeed gonna be like, can I just please be in the office and do something? Because I don't want to just sit around all day long. Maybe for 2 hours or some shit. I'm actually also gonna feel better about that then, to really be honest. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know how high the possibility is that they actually need someone. We are 2 people. Just interesting. Just really interesting. Anyway, yeah, I think I'm gonna end the episode there. So yeah. Right. I wish you the best health, of happiness, and all success, and also hope that you're gonna remind yourself and you're gonna be remembered, which basically means your legacy and basically means just being a nice person that being remembered as a nice person, which is a pretty fucking cool thing. 3 other things that I'm having for you are: why are you here? What are you trying to change, and what is bothering you the most? These 3 questions. I hope they're gonna show you a purpose, and maybe even a business idea, which is a pretty fucking cool thing. 3 other questions that I have for you are: why are you here? What are you trying to change, and what is bothering you the most? And I've already asked you that. So the last thing is, what could you essentially say to another person that is indeed gonna change their life? Because I totally believe you all can say something. Yeah. That being said, hopefully gonna see you the next time, and yeah, please take care of yourself, your loved ones, and your family. And yeah,